All right, guys, we're here today to talk about UFC 311. This is a great card. I'm really excited for this. It's going to be a great battle in the main event, which is what we're going to talk about first. Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. Islam, who I believe is on track to be the greatest lightweight in the history of the division. He's also right there with possibly being the greatest fighter of all time. So this is a really exciting fight because, as you guys probably know, if Islam wins, he will set the record for the most title defenses at lightweight with 4. And we know how historically stacked this division is, so that's a very impressive feat. However, he is going up against Arman Tsarukyan, who is a very, very talented fighter who I believe has the ability to win this fight, but it's going to be very close. So let's get into it. First of all, I think we can all agree Islam in the boxing is honestly so underrated. He's one of the best in the entire UFC, let alone in the lightweight division. There's not many people that can stack up to him in the boxing. The issue is going to be, I believe, with Arman's kicking game. He has a fantastic kicking game, and I think if he uses that properly to manage the distance between him and Islam, he could have a lot of success. The problem is actually being able to use those kicks effectively, because Arman historically is not great at following a game plan. He's not great when the fight starts, getting hectic. He tends to kind of lose himself and just go out there and fight and brawl, which isn't a bad thing. But when you're fighting somebody like Islam, where you have to be perfect for 25 minutes, and I do believe this will be a 25-minute fight, it's you don't have any room to make any errors and to lose your way. And I fear that Arman might have that happen to him when he starts facing adversity in this fight. But I do think that the wrestling is going to be incredibly close. However, I do think Islam is going to be able to hold down Arman at least for a little bit of time. I don't think it's going to be much. He might be able to take the back. He might be able to get, half guard camp for a while, but I don't think the wrestling is going to be one-sided at all. I think both guys are going to be having their moments in that department, but I think Islam is going to have just a little bit more success. Now the issue comes in if Arman is able to control Islam on the ground, even for a little bit, we know he can inflict a ton of damage, which could get very scary for Islam, but I don't think that Arman is going to be able to control Islam long enough to be able to inflict any type of damage. But if he is able to, that's going to be, I think, a major turning point in the fight. But either way, this fight's going to be an extremely high-level fight. I'm very excited to see how it plays out. I don't know. Both guys might try to wrestle. This might be just a high-level grappling match, in which case I think everybody will be happy. Could also be a great striking battle. We don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. I'm thinking it's going to be, I think the guys are going to try and grapple at first, realize neither one's going to be able to do anything effective, and kind of, I think they're going to resort to striking. And I do think that this fight is going to go to decision, and I think that Islam's going to win. I think it's going to be a 48-47 for Islam. That's my official pick. I think Islam's going to go out there. I think that he is going to win the striking. He's going to win the battle on the feet. There's going to be moments for both guys, but I think Islam's going to have more damage-inflicting moments, which, remember, is the criteria for judging around. I think Islam's going to have more of those. He's going to have more moments where he inflicts more damage on Arman than Arman inflicts on Islam. I think the grappling is going to be close, and I think Islam's going to have a little bit more, that 5-round experience is going to show for Islam, I think. It showed against Poirier, even though, Poirier is also a vet. when Islam got in there in the 5th round. He's been there before. He's been in those long fights. I think that he's going to have that little bit of a veteran edge on Arman. But official pick, 48-47 decision in favor of Islam. All right, now for our co-main event, we've got Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar, obviously the brother of Khabib. And I think that the battle of the two inbreds here is going to go to Umar. Umar is literally the definition of the fighter that you would build to beat the Energizer Bunny Merab Dvalishvili. When you look at this guy's game, what has he got? He's got long, rangy kicks, long, rangy punches. He can manage distance like a motherfucker. And he's also got very good cardio. We saw that in the Corey Sandhagen fight. He got better as that fight went on. He didn't get tired. He showed that even in those long fights, he's still able to be effective. Granted, Corey Sandhagen is not Merab. We've not seen Umar fight anybody with the gas tank of Merab, so that will be a factor. However, I don't see a world where Merab is able to take Umar down and control him. I just don't see it happening. He's going to shoot a million times. Like, that's what he does every fight. We know that's coming. But the experience that the coaching staff and the corner of Umar has, I think there's no way that throughout this training camp, Umar hasn't become an absolute master at defending the up against the cage blast double leg that Merab's going to shoot. I think that Umar is going to prepare for this, and I don't see a world where Merab is able to control Umar in any fashion in this fight at all. Whether it's the striking, absolutely not. The grappling, don't see it. The only chance Merab has is the only chance he has in every single fight, which is his cardio. If he can gas Umar out in those, he might be able to finish him in those later rounds. But again, I don't really see that happening. Merab can't finish a fly. He sucks. I hate him. I'm really just being a hater right now. I can't lie. Merab's got a shot. Merab's not that bad. I do think that Umar is going to win this fight, either 49-46 or 50-45 decision. I think he's going to win. I'm going 49-46. I think he's going to lose the first round. I think he's going to have those jitters getting into the octagon for his first title fight especially. But I don't know, man. I just don't see a world where Umar loses to Merab. I mean, Merab, all he's got going for him is his cardio. He doesn't do a whole lot. Like, yeah, he can grapple, but his grappling is a result of his cardio. It's just his endless pace. Like, I do a little jiu-jitsu. I'm not great. If you just kept shooting me full of adrenaline, give me all the energy in the world, tell me, take this person down, you've got 25 minutes to do it, yeah, of course I'm going to be able to take you down. The only man he couldn't do it to is Jose Aldo, of course, because Jose Aldo is the fucking takedown defense goat. But that's my point, is like, Merab is only good because of his cardio. You take his cardio away, he's not even in the top 15. I'm sorry. I don't see a world where Merab beats Umar. I think that this is going to be honestly, I don't even think it's going to be that entertaining of a fight. I think Merab's going to shove him up against the cage when he can. Umar's going to get out, keep the distance. I do think Umar's going to manage the distance well. Honestly, I think he's going to manage it better than Sean O'Malley was able to against Merab, and that's only because, I mean, Sean's takedown defense and his wrestling is just not the same as Umar's. But, we'll see. We'll see. I get my official pick here, Umar Nurmagomedov by 48-47 decision. I'll give a little bit of credit to the champ. I'll say 48-47. Now, I think it'll be close, but I think Umar will win. All right, the feature fight of the night. The third to last bout, we've got Yuri Prochazka versus Jamal Hill. Guys, I can't stress this enough. Jamal Hill is ass. He's ass. There's no two ways about it. Whatever this man wants to tell you, you can listen. But I'm going to tell you right now, Jamal Hill fucking sucks. Okay? He's trash. And he's going to get, I think he's going to get subbed by Yuri. I think he's going to get, I'm going Yuri Prochazka, third round, rear naked choke, just like he did to Glover. That's how I see this playing out. Jamal Hill is so slow. He's so plotty on the feet. He just kind of shuffles around the octagon. And he's fat. I'm being so mean. Oh, my God. Listen, I think Yuri Prochazka is much more talented when it comes to striking. And when I say talented, I say that loosely. I think Yuri's very unorthodox, which gives people problems. Not Alex Pereira. Didn't give him any problems. But I think somebody like Jamal Hill, who leaves, he leaves his hand down at his hips. You watch any of his fights. 2 minutes in, he's got his hands down at his hips. He's fat and he's unathletic and he's out of shape. He can't keep his hands up. I think Yuri Prochazka is going to pop him. I think Yuri's fast. Yuri's really fast. He's really unorthodox, like I said. I think he's going to be chopping at the leg with the leg kicks. I think he's going to be shooting in, darting in with a 1-2. And I think he's just going to win the battle on the feet against Jamal. I do. Like Jamal can hit hard, and he might be able to knock Yuri out, but I don't see that happening. You either have to you have to knock Yuri out cold. Completely, like you have to knock him unconscious, like we saw Alex Pereira do. But if you think that you're going to hit Yuri 200 times and get him out of there with little pitter-pat pop shots, not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Yuri is as tough as they come, and I think you're not going to be able to finish Yuri the way that Jamal Hill fights. Jamal Hill is not going to be able to pitter-pat pop shot his way to a decision victory either. Not to mention, if Yuri wants to get this fight to the ground, I think he'll be able to. And I think that once this fight ends up on the ground, Yuri's going to have his way with Jamal Hill. I just don't see Jamal Hill being able to get off of his back if Yuri takes him down. I feel like Jamal Hill is that stereotypical, like, fat dude, like, jiu-jitsu's not real. He gets taken down, he's going to turtle, he's going to give up his back, and I see Yuri Prochazka taking his back and submitting him with a rear naked choke. I'm telling you right now, that's how I see this fight playing out. And if not that, it's going to be pure domination by Yuri. I think he's very hungry coming into this fight, and I don't think he has any respect for Jamal Hill whatsoever. I think he's going to go out there, he's going to mean mug him in those stare downs. Jamal Hill is going to act like he's tough, act like he's hard, and I think Jamal Hill is going to lose this fight in a very embarrassing fashion and hopefully retire from the UFC, never fight again. I don't like Jamal Hill, if you can't tell. He's a fun fighter sometimes, but just not my guy. Anyway, moving on. Our next fight up, we've got Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. This is a very interesting fight. I am very excited for this fight. I think both guys are very entertaining, especially Moicano. If he gets on that mic after, watch out. But for this fight, guys, I think, honestly, I do think Moicano's going to win this fight. I think it's going to be... I think we're either going to go to a decision, or I think in the third round, Moicano's going to be able to get him out of there with his ground and pound. We know Dariush he's a good striker. He's great on the ground, but I think Moicano's aggressiveness and his ability to control people on the ground is very fantastic. Like, his ability, like, guys will be thrashing and rolling underneath of him. We saw it with Benoit Saint Denis. Guys will, be trying to kip their way out of mount, and it just doesn't work. And I think all of those silly tactics that Dariush used against Gamrot when he was, attempting heel hooks and stuff like that to get out of bad positions, I don't think Moicano's going to allow that to happen. He has a very smooth ability to just kind of float over his opponents when they're on the ground. And I think if Moicano gets a dominant position on Dariush, I think he's going to be able to hold it, and I think he's going to do a lot of damage on the ground. Moicano he's absolutely relentless on the ground. Like, his persistence to get into mount on his opponents is wild. Like, you watch any of his fights, all he's trying to do is just get mount, posture up, and just rain down punches, elbows, whatever. And I think, like, across a 15-minute fight, like, no matter how good Dariush is on the ground, I think that Moicano is going to get the best of him, at least at some point. And I think when he does, Moicano is going to be able to inflict a lot of damage in a short amount of time. And Dariush is coming off of 2 KO losses in a row right now. I don't know if he'll be able to handle, that level of aggressiveness on the ground, especially. I think that Moicano's going to come out real aggressive. Dariush is going to try his best to, kind of wade through the storm, not make any mistakes, but I just think that he's going to get overwhelmed, and I don't think he's going to have a chance to get anything going. You look at the Gamrot fight for Dariush, and he was able to get going once Gamrot started to get tired and started making mistakes, but he wasn't being the aggressor, especially right off the bat. I don't think that's going to be the case in this fight. I think that Moicano is just going to put a pace on Dariush that he's not going to be able to handle, honestly. And so I think my official pick's going to be, I'm going to go Moicano by third round, ground and pound, TKO. Okay, guys, and for the final fight on our main card of UFC 311, we have Kevin Holland versus Rainer de Ridder. This is an interesting matchup. We've got Kevin Holland, who's a fan favorite, one of my favorite fighters. Love Kevin Holland, versus RDR, the bird-chested jiu-jitsu freak. Came over from, I believe, one. I think he came from one. Double champ over at one. RDR's good. He's pretty good. But I don't think he's good enough to beat Kevin Holland. RDR was able to have his way with the people over at one. And I think especially in those upper weight classes, the talent is just not even close to what it is at the UFC. Just kind of wild because the upper weight class talent pool in mixed martial arts right now is just horrible. But anyway, I do think RDR is outmatched on the feet completely. Like, there's no question about that. This guy doesn't like to strike. And, we saw Kevin Holland. Obviously, he lost. He got pretty handily beaten by MVP Michael Venom Page. But Kevin Holland was able to hold his own. He had his moments on the feet with probably the greatest striker there is at middleweight in the world right now. Possibly the greatest striker there is right now. And I obviously RDR's nowhere close to MVP's level. So I think on the feet, Kevin Holland is going to have his way with Rainer. The problem is when they hit the ground. Now, Kevin Holland is an elite jiu-jitsu artist. He is a black belt. He's very, very good on the ground. But RDR is also very, very good on the ground. And I think Kevin Holland, his game plan likely just be to keep this fight on the feet and not hit the ground, obviously. But it's going to. I think Kevin Holland, if he was able to survive, I think it was like a full minute in a locked up Darce choke from Hamzat, I think he's good on the ground with Reiner de Ridder. Like, yeah, he got tapped by Hamzat, but it's fucking Hamzat. Like, of course you're going to get tapped out by him. I think Kevin Holland will hold his own on the ground. I think it might get a little hairy. RDR is going to throw up subs off his back, off of, from anywhere. He's a very good submission artist. I just don't think he's going to catch Holland with any. You're not going to catch Kevin Holland with any type of submission that he hasn't seen already. And I think he's going to be able to get out of whatever RDR throws up, honestly. I really do think that Kevin Holland's going to win just in all facets of this fight. And I think it's going to be a decision likely in favor of Kevin Holland. I'm going to say... what are we going here? I'm going to say I think we're going to see either a 30-27 or a 29-28 victory in favor of Kevin Holland in this one. So that is it, guys. Those are my picks for the main card. Just to recap, I've got Islam winning a decision, close decision against Arman. I've got Umar, I got Umar 50-45ing Merab. Fuck Merab. I've got Yuri with a third round rear naked choke. Fuck Jamal Hill. And I've got Moicano, third round ground and pound TKO against Dariush. And I'm going to go 29-28 decision victory for Kevin Holland against Reiner de Ridder. Hope you enjoyed, guys. See you next time.